Hello, everybody, and welcome to DVC Clubhouse, where we're here to share your DVC story. With us this week is our very own Amy Power. She has some housekeeping items she wants to talk about first, and then we'll get into her origin story.
So, as I mentioned on our first video, we have a Google form on the Facebook group page if you want to appear with Jeff and me talking about your own DVC origin story. And I neglected to include a field to include your name. So we got many submissions, which is so awesome, and we're so excited to talk to you all. But if I have not, I was able to figure out who most of them were submitted by. But if I have not reached out to you yet, either if you could resubmit that form or just send me a quick message to let me know that you submitted the form and you haven't heard from me, that would be wonderful. So sorry for that little mishap. I have now updated the form. So anybody who wants to fill it out now, that should not be a problem moving forward. But thank you to all of you who submitted. We're really looking forward to talking to you.
We really wanted to try and do like a DVC Clubhouse game show where we tried to guess those submissions, but we didn't feel like we were good enough yet. So if you could resubmit that form, that'd be awesome. And any of you that haven't, that want to, yeah, definitely please do, because we would like to interview all of you if we can over the next few months or years or weeks or whatever. So
for sure. So I guess I am here to talk this week about my DVC origin story, and to share with you all my journey to becoming a Disney Vacation Club member that started as it started for most of us with our love for Disney or Disney World or Disneyland, wherever it was that we ended up going first. And that is how my story starts back when I was 14 years old. I was a freshman in high school. I went to an all-girls private school, so it was about 30 minutes from my house, and I didn't really know anybody when I first started. So I became very good friends with the girl who sat behind me in homeroom, and she and I had a ton in common. We were both huge New Kids on the Block fans, and when February break rolled around, she was going to Disney World with her parents. Their family were huge Disney World lovers, and she was the youngest of four. All of her brothers were older and out of the house, and they allowed her to bring a friend with her. So luckily, and in a decision that they made that influenced the rest of my life, they invited me to go. And so it was February of 1991. I had just gotten over having mono, where I had missed several weeks of school. And the first thing that I did was go to Disney World with my best friend, where we stayed at the Contemporary, and her parents got us two adjoining rooms. So we had our own room overlooking Bay Lake. And it was just the most amazing experience for me. Not only being in Disney World with my best friend, but just the autonomy to her mom at the time had hurt her back and was in a wheelchair, and she wasn't very mobile. So they gave us a ton of autonomy to do whatever we want. So the two of us, 14-year-old girls from New Jersey in the winter in the Florida sunshine, just living it up. It was amazing. And then I absolutely was hooked on that trip. I think I recall getting a little emotional when we were leaving. I felt sad to leave because I didn't know when we would be going back, or when I'd be going back. And so, but then follow up for the rest of high school, I was on the dance team. And at the time, those competitions that take place at Disney World, where you see all of these teams staying at the all-star resorts and stunting and practicing at the resorts where everybody is typically complaining about them. I was on one of those teams. But at that time, the competition took place at SeaWorld, and we stayed, we didn't stay on Disney property. We stayed at the Holiday Inn on International Drive. But part of our, registration for the competition was a day ticket to go to Disney World. So then for the next 3 years, I got to go to Disney World for a day with my teammates, which was also amazing. So my first 4 experiences of being in Disney World was hanging out with friends in like the most magical place on earth. So, I mean, I just absolutely loved it. Everything about my experiences there were so awesome. And, fast forward to I went to college, and I think I had visited Disney a couple times because my dad had conferences there, but I never really did a like week-long vacation again. And until I graduated from college, and my aunt, and by the way, I want to shout out my friend Elena, who is the one who invited me to go with her family, because she is a Disney Vacation Club member now too. She's a member of DVC Clubhouse Facebook group. And then so fast forward to when I graduated from college, my aunt, who is now a Disney Vacation Club member and also a part of this group, sort of bribed me because she wanted to visit the Central Florida area to check out some retirement communities, and told me that if I went with her, and I mean, at the time she was like in her late 40s, so she was planning ahead, and she still lives in New Jersey, but she invited me to go with her, and the payment would basically be going with her to stay at Disney World, because she knew that I loved it, and she bribed me basically. And when we were there, we stayed at the boardwalk. She had borrowed points from somebody, and so we stayed in a studio at the boardwalk. And then she fell in love with it, so I went with her to sit through a DVC open house presentation, where she ended up then becoming a member. And then I basically in that moment decided, this is going to be a part of my future. I need to become a Disney Vacation Club member at some time in my life, because this is amazing. And so I fast forward, I meet my future ex-husband, I guess. But when we were dating, I wanted to bring him into my Disney experience. So I wanted him to love it as much as I did. And so he had only been once for a day when he was much younger. So we went, and my aunt allowed us to stay at the boardwalk again using her DVC points. And we got engaged on that trip. A year later, we got married in Disney World at the boardwalk. Well, we had our reception at the boardwalk, and we used our wedding money to then become members of the Disney Vacation Club. We bought Beach Club villas back. It was 2002. We bought it before it was even finished being built, and the rest is history.
Really cool. That's like the best wedding gift ever, if you ask me. And you got to keep it at the end of things, so that's even better.
And not only did I keep it, but once our divorce was final, I sold my rings, and I used that money to invest in a small resale contract at Copper Creek, so that I could experience Wilderness Lodge at the holidays. So I figured, you know what? It was a wedding gift to ourselves to become DVC members, and I figured it was kind of like a divorce gift to myself to add on. So it worked out.
That's perfect.
It
That's
seems like
great.
poetic justice.
So 20 years, that's a long time. And you've got your use out of it. No regrets?
No regrets whatsoever. I just recently stayed at the Grand Californian at Disneyland for my first visit to Disneyland, and that was the last DVC resort that has been built, clearly, that I needed to stay at. So I have stayed at every existing Disney Vacation Club resort, in everything ranging from a studio to a 2-bedroom. I've gone on trips by myself, with friends, to celebrate my kids' birthdays, with my sister. Like, I've just done all of these different types of trips that I never would have been able to do if I was not a Disney Vacation Club member. Because
That's
as you know,
awesome.
it just affords us the opportunity to travel to Disney World so much more frequently than we
Yeah.
would be able to.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I've got 2 more to go, and I'll have stayed at them all. I'm hoping to do that this next year. So that's awesome. I'll get there. So do you have any regrets about DVC, or anything that you'd do differently if you had to do it over again?
I probably would have tried to convince my then husband at the time that we needed more points.
Always more
But
points.
I think it's really always the regret, right? As I just don't have enough points. Like, but I really don't have any regrets. I think that it has been such a gift to me, to my family, to my kids, to be able to travel to Disney World, to go to all the different Epcot festivals, to go to the parks during the holidays. You know, I'm leaving this Friday in 5 days from now to go to Disney World with my oldest daughter to check out Disney at the holidays. We're doing a 3-night split stay because we want to experience Wilderness Lodge, Boardwalk, and Animal Kingdom Lodge at Christmas time.
Oh, wow.
And so, yeah, so I'm really excited about it. Unfortunately, my younger daughter can't come because she had a conflict. But I'm just so excited, and I'm just so grateful that the Disney Vacation Club has given me the opportunity to not just go to Disney World frequently, but to experience all of the different aspects of Disney World that might feel like they're off the beaten path for like the your regular guests who travel to Disney World like 3 to 5 times. And so, you know, in September, I did a trip. I went by myself. I stayed at the Animal Kingdom Lodge and like really immersed myself into that resort. I ate at all of the restaurants there. I did the Starlight Safari um, that leaves from Kidania Village at nighttime, and you drive around the savannas there with night vision goggles, looking at the animals. Um, that is something that I probably never would have done or really even known about. Like I've read about it, but it's through hearing other DVC's members' experiences with these types of opportunities that have really made me consider these things even more. Um, and it really is from being a DVC member that I have learned about these things, heard about them, and then and didn't really, you know, when you go to Disney World once every several years, there are things that you want, that you are your favorite things to do, that you prioritize doing. But when you're a Disney Vacation Club member and you can go frequently, it's not necessarily like, oh, I need to hit up all 4 parks. It's I did all 4 parks last time. This time I'd like to try out going to a water park, or doing the Starlight Safari, or doing I did the Wild Africa Trek at Animal Kingdom when I was there last. And that was awesome. And it's because I go frequently and don't feel like I'm missing out on like the more like mainstream things to do, that I can squeeze these extra kind of off the beaten path experiences into the way that I travel there, which has just been so awesome. I love it so much.
That's great. That's great. So your home resorts are Beach Club and Copper Creek.
Yep.
Looking to add on anymore?
I mean, I've always in the back of my head, I've was thinking when they announced the expansion at Polynesian that I might consider adding on there. It's very scary for me that my beach club expires in 20 years. So I'm always thinking like, what should I do about that? Because it's so unknown what's going to happen. But I have to tell you that after they announced the expansion of Polynesian, I stayed at the resort studios at Grand Floridian. And the Grand Floridian, which has never really been at the top of my DVC resort list, with the reopening of Citricos, the opening of Enchanted Rose, the resort studios, which I just thought were beautiful and great for a party of 5 because everyone fit comfortably and had comfortable beds. Grand Floridian all of a sudden kind of rose to the top of my list. I don't know that it's number 1, but it's definitely in like the top 5, maybe top 3. And so I started thinking, well, maybe Grand Floridian would be someplace that I would want to add on. So I don't know. I don't know. I need to sit with it. I need to think about it. I need to think about what I want to do, because it would be very difficult for me if I decided, because I was like, maybe I should unload my beach club so that I could get a resort with a later expiration. But it's really difficult. I have huge emotional connection to Beach Club. I love where it's located. It's difficult to stay there. And so I have that 11-month window to guarantee me a place at Beach Club. So it's difficult, but it's a good problem to have.
Very good. Yeah, for sure. So let me ask you this question then. If you had to pick your least favorite resort, like if everything else was booked and you'd still be like, I have to stay there, where would that be?
So this is a hard question, because the reality is that when I've stayed at every resort, and when I'm there, I love it. So, I mean, I've never really been so disappointed with a resort that I'm like, ugh, I would never stay here again. But I would say that the resort that I'm kind of least drawn to when I have a bunch to choose from at the 7-month window is Bay Lake Tower. Um, and I think that's because at this point in my membership, I really am only interested in staying in studios, because it's either I'm usually either by myself or just one or two of my daughters. So we don't need that much space. And that just allows us to staying in a studio allows me to go more frequently, which is a priority for me. And the Bay Lake Tower studios are really small. I find them to be for traveling by myself, they're fine. But I'm also, just from a theming perspective, they're not, it's it's not my favorite. It's not my favorite theming. And it's a more expensive points chart. So when I'm
Yeah,
looking
that's for
at,
sure.
I'm kind of drawn to like the beach club vibe, the boardwalk vibe, even like the old Key West vibe. Kind of more of like this laid back, like pastel, beachy kind of feel. I think it's why also the Grand Floridian refurbishments that have happened have really appealed to me, because they kind of just appeal to like the aesthetic that I'm drawn to. So those are the resorts that I'm more drawn to. I think that Bay Lake, between the size and just the theming not really being my vibe, um, is kind of the one. And I feel like if I'm going to stay there, and I get that it's in walking distance to Magic Kingdom and people think that's awesome, but right, like literally right across the pond is Wilderness Lodge, and I just love the aesthetic of that resort. I love Geyser Point. So to me, hopping on a boat and being at Magic Kingdom in 10 minutes is the same as being able to walk there.
Yeah.
And it just is like I love to seek out my Zen moments on vacation, and starting the morning before everyone wakes up and starts like the hustle and bustle of the day at Disney World. I like to stay at resorts where I feel like there are spaces that I can really just enjoy the view, enjoy the solitude. And I don't know that, Bay Lake Tower doesn't give me that opportunity as much as some of the other resorts.
Yeah, I get that for sure. Bay Lake Tower, which I actually like, I enjoy staying there. But out of all of the DVC resorts, I would dare say it's the one that is the most hectic, because you're right there at the Magic Kingdom. Like it's Grand Floridian's not any further away than Bay Lake Tower is, but there's a sense of serenity at Grand Floridian where Bay Lake Tower definitely seems to be like there's something going on. You look any direction and there's something going, the monorail or the fireworks, or which has its advantages too, I guess, but I don't know. It's not my favorite place either. And also, especially when you're in the Bay Lake Tower wing of the Contemporary, it's a journey to get food. Doesn't matter where you are. Like you have to walk over to the other side. And I'm surprised they didn't do anything, even just a quick service or something in the lobby. It's a
Yeah.
journey if you're hungry. So I get
Yeah,
that.
that's a great point too.
Um,
Because, even like, people talk about like Saratoga Springs, and a lot of people, because you can only take the bus there. And while people do enjoy being able to walk to Disney Springs, there are parts of Saratoga Springs that are a little bit farther. But if you stay in the paddock section, not only do you have an awesome pool, but you have a snack bar there that's open at 7:30 in the morning. You can grab
yep,
coffee very close to your room at 7:30 in the morning.
yep,
And that is a convenience. And it's also like, to me, again, like a very serene, like you go outside, you can find a nice place to sit and just take in some like serenity. And so I enjoy it. So that's why, I mean, I know a lot of people would think like, oh, you would put Saratoga Springs and Old Key West above Bay Lake Tower. And the answer is yeah, I would.
Yeah.
And I don't have any regrets about that.
Yep, I agree. I agree wholeheartedly. What about your DVC bucket list? You stated all the resorts, but is there something that DVC would allow you to do that maybe you wouldn't be able to do otherwise that you haven't done yet that you really want to try?
Yeah. So, I mean, staying at a cabin is definitely on my bucket list, which you and I have our meetup planned. So I should be able to check that off the list in September of 2023. But I'd love to stay in a bungalow, and I'd really love to stay in a grand villa with a group of friends or family, and just be able to, hang out in the room. That is something that I've always kind of fantasized about. I would love to, like, maybe once my kids are both off to college, I have one who's a senior in high school now and one who's a freshman, but I would love to just, like, one year, maybe just take all of my points, find like the cheapest room and stay for like the longest amount of time as possible. So maybe some September, going and staying for a couple of weeks in a low point studio somewhere, I think would be just also really fun to kind of jam it all into one really long trip. But
Definitely.
that's the type of thing where I think about, but I'm like, oh, but then I won't be able to go for a year. So, like, is it worth it to go for a really long period of time? So I don't know. And then I'd probably end up buying more points, and it'd be a whole thing. But
Point
that is
math is
something
a
that I
real
thought
thing.
would be really fun, to feel like I'm like kind of like living at Disney World for an extended period of time.
That would be cool. Yeah, that would be fun for sure. Anything else you want to add? Any other last minute questions or?
Well, something that I always think of is, when people see my pictures like that I post on social media and see that I go to Disney so frequently, and they ask me, like, do I get sick of it, or it's so awesome and you're so lucky and I wish I could be you, and all of this stuff, because like they want to be able to go to Disney World so much, is, you know, as we do, we post like the highlights of our trip. And
Oh
so
yeah, it's a
something
highlight reel
that
for sure.
we Oh yeah, totally. So something that, I would like to do as a part of this is talk about what is something that has happened on one of your DVC trips that has like made the cutting room floor, that like you would never put on your highlight reel. That's just, something that's real, like something that has happened that's just real. But you look back, probably at the moment it wasn't great, but when you look back, you can laugh and enjoy that memory too. And for me, I've been a DVC member since before I had kids. And so when we started going to DVC with kids, we were able to, we would have a pack and play, and we'd put one of them in their own bed, or we would get a 2-bedroom and they'd each get their own bed, because, again, I've used my membership differently. When they were younger, we would get larger units, go once a year, and probably maybe only go once every other year. So we would be able to stay for for a longer period of time in a 2-bedroom. And then as my kids started to get older and school became a thing, and we needed to, we maybe couldn't go for as long, or whatever it is, we wanted to use our points differently. There was this one vacation where we got a 1-bedroom, and it was at Boardwalk, and it was before the DVC resort started adding that 5th sleeper. And
Oh yeah.
so my kids had to share the pull-out couch in the living room. And my older daughter was like going at bedtime. And now, like, think about this. We've just been at the park for a long day. We're all tired. We're getting up early the next morning to do another park. And my older daughter, like, just refused to sleep in bed with her sister, and she was just, carrying on and throwing a fit, and we were exhausted and just wanted her to go to bed, and we're trying to bargain with her, and you know you know yelled at her, and all of the things that you do as a parent when you're frustrated and you're like telling them they're going to get something taken away and all of this. And like the entire time I'm like sitting here thinking, like, this is insane. We're staying in a 1-bedroom villa that has a kitchen, a living room, a large bedroom, a balcony. Like, we're staying in this amazing accommodation. And here my daughter is refusing to sleep next to her sister because she can hear her breathe. And it just, it, like, in that moment, it was so frustrating. And, and unfortunately, siblings have to breathe too. And in that
It
moment, like,
happens.
it felt so frustrating. We're like, just like, go to bed, like, go to bed. We are in Disney World. This is a great time. And like, she can't, she was young. She doesn't care that we're in Disney World. She just wants to sleep in her own bed. And it just felt like, I can laugh at it now, but in the moment, it was like, this is absurd. Here we are, DVC members, and I can't even get my kids to. I mean, some people vacation where, they're in studios, where they're in small hotel rooms, and everyone is sleeping in the same room. Like, when I vacationed with my parents, we would get, a hotel or a motel room. My parents were both smokers. At the time you could smoke in a room, they would wake up at like 6 o'clock in the morning, be sitting at the table in the room with their coffee and their cigarettes while my sister and I were trying to sleep. And we just had to deal with it. And now here were my kids, like, I can hear her breathe in this large, 1-bedroom unit. It just, those are the things that you don't put out there, but that are kind of just like the funny family memories where you're like, oh my gosh, really, kids? Like, you go to Disney World frequently and you have these amazing accommodations. Oh my Lord.
Oh yeah, we should do a whole episode sometime on DVC horror stories and just have people share the absolute worst experiences they've ever had, but then nobody would ever buy. So
Yeah, well, and in fairness, that was no fault of DVC. I mean, DVC was doing its job. It was just,
right.
it's got used to basically DVC spoiled my kids
Yep.
into like believing that when you go on vacation, you're going to always have these large, luxurious accommodations where you have your own space, just like you do at home. And it's, and then all of a sudden I realized, wow, we've really spoiled our kids with DVC because they think that vacation means that you have like a whole apartment.
Well, and to be fair, DVC has also spoiled me. It's not just your kids. I went to Disneyland
True.
last year and just stayed at one of the Stop and Robs across the street, and walked in. I looked around and I'm like, oh, I'm not home.
Yeah, it's true. It's absolutely true. I mean, even, you know, staying on Disney property, but not at a DVC resort. Sometimes I'm like, oh, like, I just can't wait. I stayed at Pop Century earlier this year because I had a late flight. I didn't want to use my points. Um, and so I just got a room there. And to your point, I was just like, oh, this just isn't home.
Yeah.
And when I then checked into Boardwalk the next day, I was like, oh, now I feel like my vacation is starting. But meanwhile, Pop Century is perfectly fine and fun and where
Yeah,
people experience their best Disney memories. So, but yeah, we get spoiled as DVC members, and
it's true
as a
for
result, so do our
sure.
kids.
That's awesome. Anything else you want to add? This has been really interesting for me to listen to. And these stories are going to be really cool because everybody's is going to be very different. I know mine's going to be very different. And it's, we've said it before and we'll say it 1,000 times more that DVC has something for everybody. That's why it works so well. I think it's one of the reasons it works better than any other timeshares is it's so flexible, and it's the ability to chart your own path and to have your own story is pretty awesome. And so, I think people are going to really enjoy hearing these.
Yeah, I think so too. And I think the only thing that I would add at the end is, like, I'm just so grateful that I've been able to, because of my DVC membership, like I mentioned earlier, bring my parents, go on a vacation where my parents were with my sister's family, my parents, my nephews, and my parents were able to be there with both of their kids' families. Like, that's something that DVC made happen. The fact that I was able to go to Disney for my 40th birthday and bring my friends, the fact that I'm able to do these solo trips, or that go on these trips. I was able to go to Hawaii with my daughter and experience Alani. Which was amazing. I've been to Hilton Head and Vero Beach and had great vacations there. because of Disney Vacation Club. And so I'm just the gratitude that I feel for, because ultimately I just, I really feel like DVC has been something that it's not about just going to the parks. Like, it's so much more for me than that. It's really about the memories that I'm making with the people that I love, the connections that I'm making with people who have a shared passion for it. It really is the thing that like has enriched my life in a way that I'm just so grateful for. So I think that's the final thing I'd like to say about it all. It's just, I'm just so grateful and I just love it so much.
That's perfect. I echo that sentiment because it's opened up a lot of doors and opportunities for new friendships for me as well. So, and we'll get into that at another time. But yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head. It's the magic. I mean, we say that almost clichely these days, but clichely, is that even a word? I'm making up words now. But we say that with the hint of cliche that it brings the magic. But I really honestly feel that that's a lot of where the magic still is at Disney is Vacation Club does really kind of hit that home, hit those heartstrings for me. So well, I want to thank you for sharing your DVC story, and we look forward to hearing from all of you as well. And with that, we'll wrap up this week's episode of DVC Clubhouse, and we'll DVC you real soon. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.